So, my name is Anders, and I work for Ericsson Software Technology, which is Ericsson's open source company. We solely work on open source projects. My colleague Daniel presented a bit about Ericsson as such in his presentations. I'm a long-term Yocto user, and I've been with Ericsson for a long time as well. Today I will present a bit about an proof of concept where we exchanged a standard binary distribution with one built with Yocto. And it started so that a team of people that were maintaining a microservice based on a normal binary distribution base image and its corresponding package feed or package repository. They came and complained that their container images were bloated. They had counted up to the biggest one had almost 3,000 packages installed. They were huge. 3 gigabyte was the biggest. So that were issues for them. It was slow, and they didn't really know what was in there. They are their application are written in different programming languages. So it's a mixture of legacy code that has been containerized and new development. And these microservices are deployed on a Kubernetes cluster. And it's built using Docker files or container files, Podman Docker thingy. They also had complaints about control and provenance. And they had no clue which patches had been applied to their binaries they were running. And they had no clue which CVEs were fixed, or some they knew, but a lot of them were unaccounted for. And they didn't know who has compiled the binaries in some cases. There were also concerns about security and compliance, which licenses were used in the packages. As an example, we found a package with Sleepy Cat license, which is not okay in our company to use. There are a lot of requirements from NESA, NIST, and CRA that we as a telco company must comply to. And there were trade requirements that we have to specify the country of origin. So we need to know where the binary has been compiled when we file the export applications. And the number of packages, it's an administrative cost to deal with 3,000 packages. When you get a CVE, you either have to explain why the CVE is not applicable, or there will be a cost no matter what. The attack vector will be increased because you have a lot of code lying around. If you have 3 gigs or 3,000 packages, for sure you will find something fun to play with if you're an attacker. Storage, when you build things every day and how containers are. If you change something in the beginning of or in the lower layer in a container build, all the subsequent layers will change. So it grows quickly. And transferring 3 gigs of data in a network takes time. So they have performance issues as well. So could we solve these problems with Yocto then? I thought we could. We have the SBOM generated in SPDX format, so we can check which licenses we are using and comply to the license requirements. We have the CV check metadata, so we know which CVs that has been corrected is compiled from source, so we can examine the source if we need to. And we decide ourselves where to compile it. And it's easy to adapt. We can set our package configs and distro features and whatnot to include what we want and exclude what we don't need. So we asked the guys running the microservice if we should do a proof of concept. They wanted this, but they wanted a base image and a package repository. They did not want to do a container build and build their application within Yocto. And this because they are a small team. They don't have the experience or competence around Yocto. And they don't have the infrastructure, and all their CI/CD deployment, everything is based upon consuming a binary distribution and a package feed. So when we looked at the content of these big images, we found that a lot of it was build time dependencies. Even though there were a lot of unused runtime dependencies, most of it was build time dependencies. And there was also package managers, not only the RPM or deb kind of managers, but pip as another example, and that we don't need in a deployed microservice. So let's see how we did this then. We begin with building a minimal container base image. And here we took the container base recipe from meta virtualization, and that contains BusyBox and base files. So that was the foundation from where all of the microservices would start from. And then to build our RPMs and our SDK, we created another OCI image recipe. And here we put all our packages that we want to put in the RPM package feed. And we also use this to produce our CV check metadata. And this image will be what we will use to build the application and install the SDK in. And we run dopopulate on this dopopulate SDK on this image. The method we used to separate build time and runtime dependencies was to put all the build time dependencies within the SDK so that we know where it is. It's one path to keep control over, not a lot of files scattered around in /user. And we also installed the package manager into the SDK. In our case, DNF. We run from the SDK. So this recipe, then we begin with installing the packages required by the SDK installer, so that we can run the self-extracting tar file when we build the container. Then we install all the build time dependencies that the microservice has. And we also list install all the runtime dependencies, engines, and so on, as an example. So with this container, we can continue to the application build container. And this is what will be used by the application when they compile their or build their application container. And this is not used, it's a build time artifact. Here we begin with copying the SDK into the container and installing it. We also put the DNF configuration here, the URL, and we configure the architecture to be what Yocto has provided for us, or what we have built with Yocto. So the last step then is to create the actual application container. Here we compile the application, we install the runtime dependencies. It uses the SDK for the tool chains, and it uses the RPM repository that we previously built. And it's a multi-stage Docker Podman build. So here we begin with taking our application build container. This one contains VisiBox and libc, and it has one directory which has the SDK installed in it. So the DNF we run here, that's from the SDK. And we use that to install our runtime dependencies, which is MariaDB and Nginx here. Next, we use Python pip install and install our application, compile and install our application. After this, we clean out the DNF, which is what remains outside of the SDK directory. Then we begin from scratch again and copy everything from the previous context. And that means we have the application and VisiBox and libc. That's all that remains in our container. And we have left the full SDK behind. So the results then, size, number of packages, and vulnerabilities. The vulnerabilities are measured with black duck binary analysis, and here we have used the CV check metadata as input. Beginning with the size, we went for the biggest one then. From our 3 gig, we went down to 28 meg. So that was a lot of build time, dependencies, package management, and dead code lying around there that wasn't needed. And then the number of packages also drastically dropped. 12, that's what we needed. And these were easy or low-hanging fruits, most of it. We haven't optimized this. It was a proof of concept, so maybe we can't go below 12, but for the 182 variant, we might be able to come further. And then yeah, also to mention for the size, we did a few of the tweaks using package configs, removing databases, for example, in applications that didn't need a database. And so that worked well. And for the vulnerabilities, I guess these days this is the most important figures, where we went from 600 to 11 and 1000 to 80, and the remaining ones were medium or low, and the rest was fixed. In the baseline, we didn't really know, but that is what the tool reported us to have. It could have been less and was probably less, but we had no clue because we didn't know. We didn't have that metadata. So our conclusions. Yocto is great. It worked great. You can use it to build a distribution that is more or less a drop-in replacement for another binary distribution. And the SDK can be used to provide isolation so that you know what is build time, what is runtime. And we were selective. The application developers had to specify which packages they needed and why. And if there were big dependencies, we asked them, do you really need a database, or do you really need to have ALSA support in your microservice? So that's it.